Mark and Crystal, it is truly amazing when you get a chance to be behind the scenes with you guys. This is so incredible. I love being in the green room, and y'all dressed appropriately. I mean, I know it's St. Patrick's Day, but thanks for wearing green and being in the green room, by the way. That's cool. Look, Mark, the whole world likely knows who you are, but take a moment and, if you would, tell about what you're up to these days, man. What's kind of going on in your life, you and Crystal?
Well, first of all, we're in love with each other, and that's obvious as you look at us. And second of all, we decided that we've been looking around, and we see all kinds of people as we've traveled around the world extensively. And there are people that are happy and successful and likable and professional and talented. And then there are same kind of people, but some of them are achieving vastly. And what we asked ourselves was, why is this group achieving so much? And it was real simple. They became master askers. They knew how to ask.
When you say master askers, hey, Crystal, how you doing over there? Looking great. When you say master askers, we're going to get into that, but we're kind of behind the scenes. And this is the cool part, folks that are tuning in right now. Take a moment and talk about what you mean by a master asker.
Go ahead.
It's just people who have really learned either as youngsters or been mentored by someone to learn the art, and because it's both art and science. Asking is both art and science. And it's one of the most important things we can do in our lives. But so oftentimes it's the thing we're afraid of the most. And so when you become a good asker, everything changes. And that's what we've been working on this past year. This project has been amazing. We did a ton of research. There's all kinds of research that supports it. We have interviewed 26 amazing people for this book. So we're excited to share it.
You know, I'm really excited to share, and can't wait till we get into the conversation. But, you know, the elephant in the room has to be, and I know we'll save it for another time, but the elephant in the room has to be, why are people afraid to ask for something they either want or need? I know that sounds so obvious, but we're talking about adults here, right? We're not talking about kids. So I'm just curious, what's your view of the world? Why do people kind of resist doing that or are afraid to ask?
Right. So it's funny you said kids. Kids are the best askers in the world.
Really?
And what happens? We get shut down. We start to feel unworthy, fearful, all these other things that we'll talk about. In the book, we call it the 7 roadblocks to asking. Mm-hmm. We all need to overcome, right?
Right. And when I was a little kid, the first blessing I had of asking is I desperately wanted a bicycle. I kept saying, Dad, I got to have it. And he couldn't afford it. He wasn't a bad guy. He loved me and loved my brothers and my mom. But Mom said, look, you could sell this Ford. And I read Boy Scout Life. It said you could sell greeting cards on consignment. I looked up my little dictionary and it said, that means you could sell it, get paid for it, and then pay for it. So you could sell something and then buy it. And I thought, wow, what a cool idea. I still like that idea. I sell my way forward in life, my whole pre-selling books like we will on this show. And it's amazing. I went to all the neighbors and I said, look, I'm earning my own bicycle. Would you like to invest in 1 box of Christmas cards or 2? I sold 376 boxes of Christmas cards in 1 month. I sold the most any for Gibson. And they gave me a little award and all that. But 30 years later, they come back and they said, we want you to do Chicken Soup of the Soul greeting cards. And amazing, I wrote them and Jack edited them, and we sold 897,000 bucks of Christmas cards again for the same company I'd worked for 30 years earlier, which is just so amazing to me.
And what would you say to Amber, who's out there watching, Asbury, who's out there, Tanya, what's up, Kevin? These folks are behind the scenes. What would you say to the person that's an entrepreneur, but they don't want to ask? Get it. Check it out. They're an entrepreneur. They're trying to help people solve problems, yet they're afraid to ask folks to take that step with them, to maybe set the appointment, maybe to ask for the business. What kind of goes through your mind? I know that's just off the top of my head, but I'm just curious.
Well, it's true. Like, we all have this tool inside of us. It's something we're born with. But it's so hard. It has to be groomed. And you have to, that's why we wrote this book, Shay. We want people to understand the pathway to asking. And we say there are 3 ways through which you ask. And that is ask yourself, ask others, and ask God. And all 3 are equally important. And so we have so many examples of all of those types of asking in the book. Mm-hmm. And asking in all of the areas of our lives, for personal relationships, for career, for health and wellness, and just for basically your life purpose. All of us have a purpose in life, whether we know it or not. Every life is so important. Mm-hmm. So vital. And so we need to come alive and learn to ask, learn to take that asking journey, because that's what we said. I mean, it literally asking is, we have these dreams in our hearts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And asking becomes like this literal bridge as we ask and have those questions answered by ourselves, others, and God. We take this journey across this bridge to our destiny, and that's how we do it. And so we're so excited about it. We love sharing this message.
Man, I love what you're saying. There's folks out there like Asbury who's writing Master Asker. Lance Jones is writing Master Asker. Robin out there. We'll get into what a Master Asker is, by the way. Don't worry. I'll make sure I didn't have that question down, but I'm going to ask that question. Speaking of Master Asker, let's take a moment if we can. There's a person, Eric Swanson, who connected me with you, by the way, and he runs Habitude Warrior Conference. And Eric, we want to thank you because he was on the show. And afterwards, he asked me who would I want to interview, whose brain would I want to pick. And I thought he was joking when he said he was going to put us together. And here we are talking right now. Take a moment, if you would, talk about the importance of what Eric Swanson is doing by connecting people together. And there was no Cash App payment. There was no Zelle payment. There was no wire transfer. You did it from your heart. So take a moment and acknowledge Eric and talk about why people need to share resources, not hoard them.
Well, first of all, the sharing of resources there's lots of kinds of capital. The one we're talking about is relationship capital. What is your and my relationship? What is our relationship with Eric? And then because this is a happy entrepreneur show, I define an entrepreneur as somebody who takes low value, makes it high value to the marketplace, him or herself, their family, their fortune, and creates a future of wonder. And what happens is when you get relationship capital, you are really unstoppable. You're invincible. And we've hit the first time, because there's some speed bumps right now happening to all of us thanks to this virus. And what happens is the better your relationship capital is, the better you're going to be able to stay glued. And having friends like Eric and you, it multiplies up. It is a force multiplier.
Wow, that is so powerful. You and Crystal are just making a change. I can't wait. The producer tell me we've got to at least get started, by the way. We're behind the green room. This is probably the longest extension we've ever had, but it's so cool. Look, Connect, we're going to get going. Dr. Pony, we're on the way. We're going to get going in 5. When we come back, we're going to be talking to both Mark Victor Hansen and Crystal Hansen right there. She's probably the one who did all the writing. She's really the brains. Don't worry. We're going to hear what she has to say. We're going to get her view of the world. We got to get going in 5. I got you. 4, 3. What's up, Kelvin? 2, 1. We're going to get started, ladies and gentlemen. What a show we have. Special edition. We'll be back in just a promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there, and they stay there, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win.
Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission is to empower. Our mission is to inspire, and our mission is to provide you, that's right, you the entrepreneur, you the influencer, you the speaker, you the author, you the coach, you the person that gets up every single day, the single mom or the working mom or the married couple, and you have a mission. And in order to achieve that mission, you need resources. That's why we're here to provide these resources to execute 3 visions that I believe that you have. First, you have a vision for yourself, right? The way you want to live, the clothes you want to eat, the car you want to drive. And today, Mark Victor Hansen and Crystal, they're going to talk about how you can really have it all. You can have what you deserve. Some of you need resources. That's revenue. That's revenue. You need revenue to buy these resources for the vision you have for your loved ones. That's the second vision. I have a mother, love Mother dear. She's probably watching right now, and I love taking her to physical therapy. I love being able to write a check whenever she wants to do what she wants to do. It's a blessing and an honor. And some of you do that. You want to provide for your family. You want to pay for insurance. You want to write a check for your community. It takes resources. And last, you have a vision for the people you were called to serve. In order to achieve that vision and these resources, imagine being Noah. Now, whether you're a believer or not, doesn't really matter, but I happen to be a believer. But imagine that you're Noah, right? And Noah has a vision given to him by God, and there's no hammer, no resources. Can't do it. No nails, no resources. No wood, no resources. Imagine if he didn't have a team. He couldn't execute that resource. And that's why we have Mark, Victor Hansen, and Crystal here today to give you the resources to execute the vision you have for the people you were called to serve. So with that being said, it's my honor and privilege to say hello to Mark, Victor Hansen, and Crystal Hansen. What's up? How y'all doing?
Thanks, Shay. We're doing great. Thank you.
We're happy entrepreneurs, and we think everyone has an entrepreneur hiding inside him or her if they learn how to ask and ask, understanding the science and art of asking, so they do it with finesse, they do it with excellence, and they do it in the spirit of joy.
We'll take a moment and talk about that. We're going to get into how you sold world record over 500 million books, by the way. But we'll get into that. You are that person. But you got this book out called Ask. And the subtitle is very interesting. The Bridge from Your Dreams to Your Destiny. You could have picked a lot of titles, man. Why that title? Why now?
We think everybody's got a destiny, and we think everyone's got a great destiny, and we think most people are afraid to achieve their destiny. So Crystal will talk about how to do that.
So
give her the hard job.
We literally, this title just emerged because as we started writing this book and understanding like how important the asking journey is, because it's been so important in our lives personally. There have been times where we were each respectively down and out, and it didn't seem like there was any way forward. And what brought us out of it were these questions that we started by asking ourselves, and then it really caused this amazing pivot within us. So as we started writing this book and understanding the areas of asking, which are ask yourself, ask others, and ask God, we realized that by doing that, when you learn to master those areas of asking and understand them and understand how they can serve you, that it literally becomes like you have these dreams in your heart. We all do. We all have a wonderful potential and we all have a destiny. But when you start asking, those questions and the answers that unfold, it gives you an illumination, a solution, answers that you need. And each time it happens, you go forward. You start crossing the bridge to your destiny. And it is a literal bridge to your destiny, from your dreams to your destiny. So it's exciting. We love sharing this message, and we feel like there's not a more important message we can share right now. And it's a tool that everyone can use. It's not like a complicated process. It's something that we all get, once we read it and digest it and learn the principles.
Yeah, I love that you said learn the principles. You talked about destiny. Can I slow down, and then we're going to speed up for a moment? How is it possible to really find your own individual talent and maximize it? Like you suppose a person doesn't really know their destiny right now. And I know this is a loaded question. You might have a answer, but how does someone really find their own individual talent so that they can walk towards their destiny if they're in that place?
Perfect question. And because I was upside down and living in New York in 1974, went bankrupt, lost everything I had, and went bankrupt so fast, I asked myself, what do I do? And I was good at library, so I went to the library, checked out a book, How to Go Bankrupt by Yourself. So I tell you, I understand upside down. So the yin and the yang sign, which has a little S inside, says crisis equals opportunity. So we're in the biggest crisis America's ever had. There's no question about it. So what does that mean? It means we've got the biggest opportunity. And what happens is you've got to change your perspective, change your understanding, change your thinking. What you call every day is January 1st. You got to reinvent yourself each and every day here and say, where is the opportunity for me? That's a sub question. But the real question is a spiritual question. If you're willing to go to God before you go to sleep at night, the homework assignment is you say 400 times before you finally go into deep, peaceful, happy slumber, God, what's your destiny for me? God, what's your destiny for me? And in the morning, you'll wake up, and what you got to do is have a little pad so you can write it down or type it into your computer or dictate it into your smart device, whatever it is you've got, to lock in on it, because the answer will come. Because Crystal will tell you, every one of us is born not endowed, but over-endowed with 18 billion brain cells that can't come to work until you ask, which is our big book title.
So important. And you talk about that. You talk about asking, that, which I love. And I know at one point you both had talked about the power of focus. So once someone knows their destiny, we're going to talk about the bridge and the questions they should answer. How does someone stay focused in this chaotic time, number one, and especially for the individual right now who gets up every day? And many of our members, they go to work every day. And yet they come home, take care of their family, and then they also run a full-time business. And now they got to think of what their destiny is and stay focused. So my question to you is, how does someone maintain the power of focus on their objective during these very uncertain times?
What we do is we teach you write a little 3x5 card and start, I'm so happy I am doing X. Whatever your business is, how many sales you've got to make, how many calls you've got to make, how many purchase orders, POs you've got to get. Whatever, there's different names and nomenclature and different things. If you're a doctor, how many patients you've got to get. Whatever the nomenclature is, in our case, we're so happy we're doing so many podcasts. In our case, we're doing 101 podcasts between now and the day the book comes out, April 28th, and we're pre-selling no less than 20,000 copies, which is what gets you up to the top of the algorithms at Amazon. We're asking everybody watching to buy, because that's our goal, and that's on our 3x5 card, which we both signed and agreed to, and our publisher agreed to. Now, you have the 3x5 card, and you look at it 4 times a day, because back to your question about focus, all of us are instant forgetters. You need to look at it at breakfast, lunch, dinner, but most importantly, before you go to sleep, because your subconscious never sleeps. All night long, it's out doing your bidding. Like when I was bankrupt upside down and started doing speeches like I saw you doing in the interim, I read a book called Believe, and he said to do it. Claude Bristol's a great author, self-help author. And one night I wrote, and back then I needed to make $100,000 a year. That's $400 a day. Now, if you make $1 million a year, it's $4,000, 250 working days a year. So it's simple to figure it out. But I had on my little card, 400. I'm so happy I'm earning $400 a day, and I had it written down. I went, at night, I listened to this 400, 400, 400. I'm going to make 400, 400. I'm going to make 400. I'll earn 400 tomorrow. I woke up at 2:52 in the morning, wrote down this name I'd never heard of before. The next day, I'm cold calling life insurance companies, and I cold call. It said State Mutual. It said Bill Widener. I walk in. Nobody's at the front desk. It's lunchtime. I walk straight back to his office. He wrote me a check for $400 for 4 $100 seminars. He said, I was so happy to give it to you because you're so happy as an entrepreneur, as a salesman. I could not resist you. I didn't know if you'd ever come back, but it was so good for me to write it. We became best friends, and we still have relationship capital. That's the point, is that your mind wants to go to work, but you cannot go to bed worrying. This is why the Bible, which you said you're good at, says never go to bed with your wrath upon you, because you'll scare away your good. The law of attraction works positively and negatively. It's neutral. Right. So you got to use it positively. I am going to get the business. I am going to succeed. I am going to get the promotion. I am going to find an opportunity. I am going to find my right livelihood.
Man, I love that. And for those folks that are watching right now, we're going to get the website. You talked about this book. We're going to get the website in just a minute where you can go to. For Ty Miles is out there, and Monty out there, and Brenda Graham out there, and so many of the rock stars that have showed up. You have my permission. I'm sure you have Mark's permission right now to hit the share button. You can hit the share button and you can pay this message forward to your group, Mark. I think you're okay with that. Many folks have their own groups that they're involved in. And so there's a share button right below the video. There's a watch party button. When you hit the button, just write the word ask, your dreams can become a reality. Just hit the word, hit the share button. So you're paying this message forward so you can encourage and inspire someone else. Hit the share button. Hit the watch party button. If you're watching and listening to the podcast, take the link. You got Mark's permission. This is kind of cool. And you can post it to your page or anywhere you want in social media right now. You can do that. You talked about, Mark, this website. And I want to get to the website. And then I want to get to like maybe a question that someone can ask themselves. Because I think Crystal said there's 3 types of questions. You can ask yourself a question. You can ask God a question. There's a third question. Third person you need to ask.
Ask yourself, ask others, and ask God. Yeah, those are the 3 channels which you can ask. Yeah,
I love that. So she might share at least one type of question that someone can ask themselves. What's the website? For those folks that are like, Shay, you keep talking about ask, the bridge from your dreams to your reality. I'm talking to Mark Victor Hansen and Crystal Dwyer Hansen, where can they go to get the book or pre-order?
Amazon.com is the best place to go. Get the book, get on pre-order, because we have some fun stuff planned for this year. We want you to reach out to us once you have the book, because we want to invite you to some fun things we're going to do. We're going to be giving a lot of value to people, because our goal is to create 1 million master askers this year. And we want to help people launch this decade to be amazing and fabulous. You all have a destiny. You all deserve to find your destiny. And we want to be a part of that journey with you. And asking, we have figured out, is the best tool you can have in your toolbox to make that happen.
So the way you do it is, once you buy the book at Amazon, you send us a receipt at reception@markvictorhansen.com. Reception, RECEPTION. Reception@markvictorhansen.com. If you buy one book, we're going to invite you to all kinds of stuff as we tour the country once that's open and available again, and we invite you on other podcasts, and I'll bet Shay will be kind enough to have us back, because we want everyone to wake up the inner entrepreneur, no matter what their chronology. And I wrote a book for young kids called The Richest Kids in America, which is still a bestseller. And now this book we think is going to wake up everybody, because we don't think anyone should retire from something to nothing. They ought to retire and go in a new, better direction. If they buy 100 books, and it's astounding to us that, like, Life University bought books for every graduating student, and we will go talk at the graduation, assuming travel's back up and running. But if it is or isn't, you still need to know how to ask yourself, because asking is a transformative word. And while the Bible said, ask and you shall receive, God bless God, he didn't tell us how. And he told us we had to write this book, share it with you, so we get everybody to master the fine art and science of asking, so they have an inner transformation, a mental, spiritual, cellular transformation, so they get an outer reward and they recognize the unlimited abundance.
Now, for those folks that are just tuning in right now, they can go to Amazon. They can get the book, the the Bridge from Your Dreams to Your Destiny. You can pre-order it. Some folks are just joining on and want to know what in the LL Cool J is going on, right? So take a moment, if you will, Mark, take a moment, if you will, and just slow down for a second and say, look, this book is for who? That's number one. This book is for who, and what's the number one reason they should go not only get the book for themselves, but for someone else? So just kind of frame the conversation. Who is this book for? Is it just for the professionals? Is it for business owners? Kind of frame the conversation for us a little bit.
By the way, I'm a master at growing rich in your niche, and I even wrote a book about that. But the fact of the matter is, this is a book sort of like Chicken Soup. It is a book to touch your heart and soul. It's got stories in it that are profound, and everybody is going to relate to it. I'm going to assume you got to be 8 or 9 years old. Our grandkids are reading it, and our 8-year-old grandkids reading it, and he loves it. And the first story is about him. But we got great stories in there by guys like Jim Stovall, who at 19 years old, he's ready to become a professional NFL player, and they do the medical, and they said, I'm sorry, but in 6 months, you're going to be totally, absolutely, permanently blind for the rest of your life. His whole life came crushing down, and I'm sure some of the people watching and listening to us are feeling that right now. So that's why I want to share this story where we interviewed our friend Jim. And Jim is a wise man now, but Jim was incarcerated, self-incarcerated in a 9x12 room with a telephone, a television, and a radio, and he loved watching thriller movies and couldn't see in action like somebody throwing a left or a right hook. And he goes to a blind meeting at the recommendation of his parents, and he sits next to a blind woman, hears everybody mumbling about their blindness and their complaints. He said, I had that wired. I didn't need to do that. But the pivotal question he asked the lady sitting next to him, who was a blind stenographer for a law firm, said, somebody ought to do something about the fact that we can't see action as blind people. She said, that's a pivotal answer and question.
Right. She's
Go
like,
ahead.
why can't we be that somebody? And he said he instantly went to a complete paradigm shift. Like, yeah, why can't we? And when he answered that question, his whole demeanor changed. His whole outlook on life changed. And they started working together on this. And they created narrative TV for the blind. They created narrative movies for the blind. And now they serve over 14 million blind people in an area that no one was serving them before. And he literally came back to life. And he knows to this day that this horrible thing that happened to him, losing his vision and, being taken away from the NFL when he was this amazing player, made him a better person. And by asking that question at that time and getting those answers, he became a much bigger person than he ever would have by going the route. So when it seems like things are dark and dim and there's no hope, and literally, can you imagine being him with the rug pulled out from under your entire life like that? Keep asking, keep listening for the answers, and you will get the shift. You will get the answers, and you will know, just like he did, that this is a game changer for you. And you need to keep asking, because you're going to need to ask more and more questions as you keep going, and they will continue to be answered, and you will continue across your bridge to your destiny.
And he wrote a great book then that I wrote the endorsement to and said, this is so clear, such a good vision, to use your term earlier. It should be a movie. Well, now Jim says, I write books I can't read, and I make movies that I can't watch. He made $100 million on his movie, The Ultimate Gift. I recommend it in addition to our book. It's wonderful. It'll uplift you. You'll feel good. And if some of us are going to be isolated a little bit more, I want you to read self-help action books and listen to audios and podcasts like this one.
Man, that's super amazing. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for breaking that thing down. We certainly appreciate it, unpacking it. You know, when folks that are listening and you talk about what he went through, what should folks do when they're faced with an obstacle and giving up seems to be the only solution? And in his case, he felt that way. And there's a number of folks right now that may have been doing very well. As you said, these are very challenging times. What would you recommend that someone does right now that's faced with some insurmountable obstacles in front of them? What do you suggest to do in order to keep on going? And you yourself, I think you would decline like 140 times when you wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, by the way, by folks that turned your book down, but you kept on going in face of those odds. So my question is, what's your recommendation for someone that's facing what seems unsurmountable odds? What should they do in order to keep going?
Well, one of the things we teach people, Shay, is the first thing you do is start asking yourself questions, because that self-questioning is so revealing as to what your next step is going to be. And we say the first thing to ask yourself is, what would be my ideal scenario? And you really need to use your imagination with this. So if it's about your career or about relationships, we want you to sit down and imagine the best case scenario. If I were getting all the orders that I needed, if things were working out for me, if I had this many clients, be very specific, what would that look like? You know, and ask again all the questions you can think of. How many clients do I want? What would I be saying to them? How would they be responding to me? Get really granular on every single question you ask yourself. In my perfect world, what does this look like? What does it sound like? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? What am I doing? What are they doing? How am I responding? How are other people responding? And when you start to do, and then you answer those questions. And when you start to do that, you will be amazed. It is the most miraculous thing, because those answers will start to fill in. And things will come to you, ideas will come to you, opportunities will start to come to you. People will show up, and you'll recognize that they're there for you, because you've already gone through this in your own mind. It is really a miraculous process.
It's a law of attraction and action. When I went bankrupt in 1974 and I was hiding under the sheets and worried that another bill collector would call, I said to myself, what do I really want to do? What is my right livelihood? What is my true passionate purposefulness? And it was to become a professional speaker, talking to people that care about things that matter, that make a life-changing difference. And so I asked my 4 roommates. I was living in Hicksville, Long Island, New York. One of them was a real estate guy. I said, do any of you know anybody that's speaking professionally or otherwise that's not a cotton top, white hair like I've got now, a famous person, a doctor, or a lawyer? And they said, yeah. There's this kid out in Hauppauge, Long Island, New York. He's talking to all the realtors at 9 o'clock, and here's the address, and I can't go, but you go and just tell him you're me if you can't get in otherwise. I went and I watched him mesmerize. This guy, Chip Collins, became my best friend. 300 or 400 people, just wowed him. And then at the end, I said, hey, I want to do what you do. He said, look, kid, chance you make is 1 in 1,000. I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks, but I'll tell you what to do and where to do it if you stay out of real estate. Real estate, I own it. You do the life insurance business, the bottomless pit. At the time, I owned no life insurance. I didn't know anyone in life insurance. I didn't know what a premium was. I didn't know what a general agent manager was. So I was totally out of my league. But the point is, I had what everybody out there's got. They know how to ask after this, or they'll read our book and learn how to ask. And number two, if you've got white hot burning desire, I can't give you ambition, but based on your question earlier, Shay, you and the three of us now give everybody watching, listening, hearing, or sharing this permission to start believing that they're becoming master askers and start asking before they professionalize it so they can refine it, define it, defend themselves, and master it. Now, the 4 questions he gave me was, do you do seminars at your life insurance office? And do people need more prospects? They need to know how to close. They need to know how to have good work habits. They said, yes, yes, yes. I said, then do you want to cut the check or have your secretary cut it? And they all laughed and said, no, I'll cut it myself. And they had to pay me. Back then, it was $25 a seminar. Now I get $25,000 a seminar domestically and $75,000 internationally. So things have gotten better. But the point is, I kept asking, and growing. And everyone out there can warm up that ambition and desire, make it white hot. Then you'll be unstoppable and invincible no matter what's happening in the world, because circumstances don't determine us, situations don't. Our inner determination determines our outer realization. I never said that before, but I like it.
You can go back and watch it. We're here with Mark Victor Hansen and obviously Crystal Dwyer Hansen's over there hanging on them right now. They just finished writing the book, Ask the Bridge from Your Dreams to Your Destiny. And they mentioned the word master asker a number of times. So I'm going to ask them to define what is a master asker. Is it someone that keeps asking all the time? Or is it someone that kind of follows some methodology? Or do you have to do it for so many years? Talk about what is a master asker. And for Donna Hicks, who's out there, Donna Hicks Izzard, who's out there, thanks a lot for joining in. Patricia, we appreciate you. Rick Dentley, thanks so much. And all of you hit the share button. You can hit the share button again. If you did it before, hit the share button, because I'm going to ask them where to get this book at. And they're doing some really cool things about it. So hit the share button right now. Hit the watch party button and pay this message forward. You can go from your dreams to your destiny, and they're giving you the bridge to do that. All right. What is a master asker?
So a master asker is someone who is dedicated to staying curious about life, staying open to all of their options, and continuing to be willing to continue asking for them and never stopping. And that's really what a master asker is, because the more you do it, the more proficient you get at it. And you just have to keep doing it and make sure you're doing it in all areas, asking yourself, ask others, and ask God, because all of those things come together to create a master asker.
Now, as ask others, for those folks out there that are servant leaders right now and they're leading organizations, are they asking their teams to perform at a higher level? Are they asking people to make contributions? Talk a little bit about that as well, if you can. I know you talk about asking for the business, but talk about asking from another perspective, other than just asking someone for a check for the services they are providing, because I know this is much bigger than that as well.
Exactly. Well, as you know, I've tithed on every one of my books, and businessmen look, and I wrote a book called The Miracle of Tithing, and they said, what's the miracle of tithing? And I said, you haven't been tithed enough lately, but you got to tithe your thinking, your time, your talent, and your treasures. And I think you're supposed to give 10% of each of those, but most people never thought about giving their thinking. Right now, we are tithing on this book to childhelp.org. Now, Child Help is a 60-year-old organization run by 2 earth angels that we love and adore that live here in Arizona with us. Not with us personally, in Arizona.
Here in the state.
Here in the state. And they have helped 10.5 million kids get out of child abuse, child neglect, and sex trafficking. And that is our current charity that we're dedicated to. But everybody has probably some inner knower of a charity that they should contribute to. And the fascinating thing is that once you do that, you grow, you expand, and you become more of who you can be, better than you've ever been before.
Mm-hmm. That makes a whole lot of sense. And I love the way you framed that and said that you give to a charity. So that's something you're doing right now, which is super amazing, by the way. Tell the folks, where can they get the book once again, and then give them the website they can go to once they've purchased the book or pre-ordered it, where they can go and the website they can go to as well.
Okay, the beauty of it is you go to Amazon.com to buy the book, and if you send a note to reception at markvictorhansen.com, if you buy one book, you'll get all kinds of good stuff. If you buy 100 or more books, like we've had universities do and famous people do, to give to their whole charity, to give to their whole group, their whole association, we will we're going to have a whole day where you spend it with Mark and Crystal. We'll teach them stuff. We'll open up to every question that they've got. And at the very end, we're coming to our beautiful home here in McDowell Mountain, and we'll have a spectacular dinner together, and it'll just be beyond exciting and beyond wonderful.
That sounds cool. Don't worry about it. That sounds cool. I love it, by the way. Take a moment. One of our segments that we do, by the way, and Donna wrote, there is power in your ass. So she's encouraging everybody to ask. There is power in your ass. Well, he just said that. That is super amazing. They're watching. My question to you right now, and this is a very, very important question, and it's one of our core values, right? And one of our core values is today is my January 1st. And for those folks that are watching and hearing that for the very first time, today is my January 1st represents that moment where you can make a decision. And in that decision, it can change your life, right? And you have many moments throughout your life that are January 1st. Many moments throughout the day, there's a January 1st. You either go to the gym or you sit on the couch, right? You either eat hamburgers and French fries, or you go to the refrigerator and get broccoli and kale and celery out. You do that. So January 1st represents a new start, a new beginning, a do-over. Your past doesn't equal your future. Mark, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, and every single one of you writing that are watching right now, you can look right below the video. You can look right below the video, and you can write these words. Today is my January 1st. I'm going to ask going forward. Today is my January 1st. Write that right below the video. The bridge from your dreams to your destiny is here, and it's in the book. You can do this. Mark, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what goes through your mind? Why is that important?
Exactly what goals you've got to write. And I've always taught you got to start with 101 goals. And when you get one of them, you don't cross off like I got the milk, I got the eggs, I got the butter. But you're transforming yourself. The reason you become a millionaire is not to get the money. It's who you become to get the money. And obviously, we are transforming now I got to tell you, Crystal's the one who really got me thinking about this. Once we start asking questions, brain cells literally illuminate. Brain cells are self-revelatory. Brain cells are encouraging. The magic starts happening when you ask bigger, and then we have extensive written goals. And when you hit them, like I said, you don't cross them out. You're going to write victory in God's highest color, which is purple, the bottom of the rainbow. And and we had a double rainbow yesterday we drove into, so it was pretty miraculous.
I like that. And Crystal, as you're listening as well, when you hear today is my January 1st, what kind of goes through your mind?
Well, I love that because every day is a new beginning for your life. I mean, and that's a big thing to realize that. Like, my life starts today. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. Doesn't matter what my setbacks are. I'm going to start my life today. And so you can start your life intentionally. And if you start intentionally, you have to decide what it's going to be like. And that's why that process of using your imagination and imagining the best case scenarios for yourself and writing those down and saying, what does it look like, feel like, sound like? What am I doing? What is this great life that I'm living? And write it out and then read that back to yourself every day. This is my life. And it's miraculous. You will start to create your own miracles. And then in terms of, I wanted to mention, Shay, because we haven't talked that much about like asking others, but we did a ton of research for this book. Well, first of all, back to asking yourself. When you ask yourself a question, a different part of your brain lights up, literally. It lights up a part of your brain, a different part of your brain. So automatically your brain goes to work for you. It has to answer the question. It's the part of your brain that does critical thinking. So you become, your brain goes to work for you and you become more intelligent. You become more resourceful to yourself. Now, the other research that we did is about asking others. So Harvard's done a couple of studies on asking. It turns out that people who learn to ask more questions are actually more likable. People who are in scenarios where they ask a lot of questions end up having the person, the partner or the business associate, whomever was with them, ends up liking them more. So it's partially being curious about the other person, which is always a journey, because when you're sitting with a client, oftentimes we're tempted to go, let me tell you about me. I can do this for you and I can do that and I'm so great. Just the best thing we teach in the book, and there are some great stories that exemplify this, sit down and ask them, do the same thing you do with yourself. In your perfect world, if in your business, if you had a perfect situation, what are your goals? What would you like to be doing? If I could help you any way that you want, what would that look like? How would I be assisting you? If you had your dreams met, what would that look like? So you're really finding out about them and being curious about them and asking them what they want. And, if I were able to fulfill that for you, how would that make a difference in your business? Would that feel good? The more questions you ask someone when you're trying to serve them, the more successful you will be, the more successful they will be. So that's one thing. They even did a study on dating, which is interesting, and found out that daters who ask more questions, more curious about the other person, more probing, or just ask questions about things they didn't know, were more likable and were more likely to get the second date. So that teaches us a lot about question asking, because a lot of times we don't ask questions because we think, I don't want him to think I'm stupid. I don't want him to think I don't know everything. I don't want him to think that I'm ignorant about that. It's just the opposite. People like you more, and there's more of a bond that takes place when you're willing to ask questions.
I want to add one thing because I'm hearing you go, and that is, the reason you got to learn to ask, we've just entered, talk about January 1st, this decade, we're going to do 50 trillion, that's 50, not billion, trillion with a T, worth of business in the United States of America, because of great things happening. And the question we're teaching at seminars before the economy got slowed down a little bit is, how am I going to participate? And everyone's got more talent, more ability, more resourcefulness to do stuff in 5G. For you and I doing seminars, and you said there are a lot of people in here who want to do seminars, 5G is going to mean that you could be in your house or office right now and come into 5G as an avatar into the phone. And like you saw in Iron Man with Robert Downey Jr., it will three-dimensionalize right out of the phone, and all that's going to be ready by the end of this year. That changes everything, because now we can be two places at once where we're sending it and receiving it, and you don't physically have to go get on an airplane, which may be stifled and stopped for a short time longer. Right. So it's exciting, that kind of stuff. One of the businesses, and I'll only do one more, is that we're in a business that I call Trash to Cash. And this guy at QCI in Michigan has built an industry over 20 years, and no one even knows about it. But we've got to clean up all of our garbage dumps, all of our landfills, and that's what Warren Buffett would say is a cigar butt business. But the fact is, we can turn metal back to metal, glass back to glass, plastic back to plastic, fuel back to fuel. And instead of being out of resources in America because we used them up, we're going to recycle 99% of every atom, every molecule. This alone is a multi-trillion-dollar business because we got 10,000 landfills that need to get picked up, and there's nobody doing it. You say, well, will that put garbage people out of business? No, they're still going to get their tipping fee, but now it's going to go straight into total recycling, and we're really in the most exciting time ever, and we're just in a temporary hole. And when we come out of this little divot and depression, it's going to go vertically straight up, is what I predict and have seen before, and this is going to be better than ever.
I believe you. With that being said, where can they purchase the book once again?
Go to Amazon.com and get a copy of Ask, A-S-K, The Bridge from Your Dreams. Because all of us have dreams to our destiny, and we believe we're going to have people unleash their destiny, unleash their opportunity, and source and serve more people. Because Martin Luther King, of course, said anyone can be great because they just can decide to serve greatly. And that's what your show is all about. And entrepreneurs are here for one real reason: solve a problem and get paid for it. And we are supporting you and all of your listeners 100%. We're cheering you all on.
Well, thank you so much. And Crystal, what happens once they purchase the book? Tell them once again, once they purchase the book, then they take their receipt and they go to a website. But I'll let you mention that. They go to a website and something happens when they do that. Talk a little bit about that once again.
Go to reception@markvictorhansen.com and send your receipt. If you buy a book, we want to invite you to some special events that we're going to be doing free of charge. We just want everybody, we want to bring everyone along for the journey. So we want to stay in touch with you. Reception@markvictorhansen.com. If you're one of those people who wants to buy 100 books or more, you can buy those on bulkbooks.com. And send us that receipt, and you'll get a special invitation. We're going to do a one-day live event as soon as everything opens up again, and we can do live events. But a one-day event where everyone's in Arizona. We're going to spend the day together. We're going to go deep. We're going to do some deep visualization. We are going to reset ourselves to become master askers for this decade, and then we're gonna spend that whole day doing that, and then go to dinner at our house. We're gonna have a beautiful dinner at our house to finalize that day. So yeah, that's reception@markvictorhansen.com. Send us the receipts, and we'll reach out to you.
Cool. Well, as we close out, last question before I give you your final thoughts. What's one of the reasons you guys still do this kind of stuff? I mean, certainly you don't have to be out here trying to save the world. You don't have to be out here trying to make a difference. You could be on an island. You could be somewhere right now relaxing. People might want to know, why do you still do this?
By the way, I could have retired a long time ago, obviously, but I don't think retirement is healthy or safe or long lasting. I believe that you're here to do two things. The Bible says in the beginning, God created, and 28 were created in the image and likeness. So that from our point of view, we believe we're here to create. And we love the creation. But the second part we talked about earlier in the show, and that is contribution. You can only feel good at your heart and soul level if you're contributing. Now, in our blended family, we have 5 kids and 6 grandkids. We think we'll end up with 12 grandkids because some of them are millennials. We think that we've got a great contribution to make. We absolutely love and adore our family, but we are with them. We do great things with them, but we think just what the Bible said, you got to take care of yourself, then your spouse, then your family, then your city, your state, your country, and in the world. In the world, 4 billion people aren't in the equation yet. It is our high desire to ask ourselves, how do we do that? And one of the guys that does it well is Peter DeMantis. He says, what are you going to do to positively affect 1 billion people in this decade? I respond to you and say, that's a lot of work for all of us, but make it if it's your right livelihood, it's going to be a work of joy, an entrepreneurship of happiness, as you say.
Well, thank you so much. Once again, we certainly appreciate both of you attending. Appreciate both of you being here. Appreciate the book. Everyone go get the book on Amazon. The name of the book again is Ask: The Bridge from Your Dreams to Your Destiny. I'm going to give it over to Mark Victor Hansen to give his final thoughts, his final closing comments. For those folks out there, when these lights go off, you got to go get the book. And you got to go back to work. Once again, Eric Swanson, big shout out, man. We appreciate you at HabitudeWarriorConference.com. You're doing an amazing work and connecting us together. We appreciate it. So, Mark, once again, thank you for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. And Crystal, who does all the work, thank you for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. She's the one that does all the work. In all seriousness, thank both of you. We appreciate it. Over to you, man, for your final comments. And every one of you who are watching right now, thank you for hitting the watch button. Thank you for hitting the share button. Thank you for paying this message forward. Without you, there is no show. So we really appreciate you for being here. Thank you for your support. Over to you, Mark Victor Hansen.
Thank you. Thank you. We believe that every one of you out there is going to learn how to ask and become a master asker, have more possibilities, more opportunity, more promotion, better relations, and more excitement in your future than you've ever had in your past. And I don't care how old you are. And we are very close friends with a 98-year-old, so I can promise you that you can have a rip-roaring life forever in physical form and then better maybe in spiritual form.
And I believe you. With that being said, my name, by the way, is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Thank you for joining. Everyone, look right below the video and write, "It's my time to ask." Just look right below the video and put, "It's my time to ask." Go get the book. It's my time to ask myself, ask God, and ask others for what I want. With that being said, make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you from the bottom of my heart, we'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. Mark Victor Hansen, Crystal, thank you. We appreciate you. We will have you back. We'll see you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, Jay.
We're out. It's so fun. Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there, and they stay there, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win.
Yeah.
Thank you. God bless.